is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It's Wednesday, July 15th, and right now on Good Morning Indiana.
We are looking for some more concrete guidance, whether that comes from the governor's office or whether that comes from the state health department.
Before school returns in a couple of weeks, teachers say they need more direction on how the state and districts are keeping themselves and students safe during the pandemic. The measures they want to be put in place before class is in session.
For us, the virtual learning is the safest option.
Many students will choose online learning instead this year. We'll show you a new option that families across the state can now take advantage of. COVID-19 is impacting how many people do their jobs, including firefighters. This morning, we're looking at the coronavirus and how it's changed how they handle emergencies. And in Franklin, one school district is helping students in the classroom with dogs. We'll introduce you to the two new therapy pups who will be there to help students with mental health during the school day.
Welcome to Good Morning Indiana on this Wednesday. I'm Rafael Sanchez, joined by Lauren Casey and Todd Clausen. And Lauren, this morning, if you step outside right now, if you step outside the RTV6 living room studio in Franklin, it is nice. It is comfortable. Much later, Todd Clausen, I don't think so.
Yeah, we're preparing for another hot one. So, Todd, what can temps get to today?
Yeah, you know, the temperature's going to climb pretty quickly today, and we'll be up generally right around 90 degrees for most locations here across central Indiana. The other thing you'll notice, the humidity. Unfortunately, that's going to start to creep up a little bit as we go throughout the day as well. But as Rafael mentioned, it's pretty comfortable this morning. Temperatures in the 60s now all across central Indiana. 62 in Bloomington, 63 in Greenfield, and 65 is the current temperature in Greencastle and Connorsville. And here is the beautiful sunrise taking place. Just some high thin cloud cover out there, and we'll burn that thin cloud cover off very quickly as the sun gets higher above the horizon. In fact, we haven't even officially hit sunrise yet, so we'll eventually start to see a mostly clear sky this morning across the area. Storms off to our west, this big cluster of storms. This is going to dive down to our south, so you don't have to worry about that, but there is a front that heads our way, and that will bring storm chances into the forecast after sunset tonight. Until then, though, we are looking at highs anywhere from about 88 to 92 degrees with a little more humidity, as I mentioned. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies. We'll talk about those storm chances that arrive overnight tonight coming up in just a little bit. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on traffic as you're heading out on the roads this morning. Here's a live look in the downtown area, I-65 and I-70 at the North Split, where traffic is moving along just fine. No crashes or delays in this spot to slow down your Wednesday commute, but of course, we'll keep you updated. Rafael?
So, Lauren, one by one, as you know, schools have been releasing their reopening plans, and many for now plan on returning to teaching in the classroom.
That's right. Families all across central Indiana have many questions about how those schools plan to keep their kids safe. And so this morning, our Kelsey Anderson joins us live with the details on what the state is doing to protect both teachers and students. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So it's being said by both state and local health officials that it is safe and healthy for kids and teachers to get back into the classroom in just a few weeks. But that comes with concerns from the Indiana State Teachers Association, which represents educators across the state. They say many are worried what will happen if they go back. Some of the questions families and educators have are, how long does someone have to quarantine after a possible exposure? If masks are required 100% of the time, who gets notified of a positive case, and what that process looks like? And are all the decisions being left to local districts?
The CDC guidance says that schools may have to close for a period of 2 to 5 days, but this isn't written in stone. It really depends on how well you have been able to cohort your students in your school system.
Many teachers are fearing when schools reopen, we will see a spike in cases and schools will be forced to close once again. So for more information on the Department of Health's recommendations for opening schools and what some local schools are doing and what they're planning to keep kids safe in the fall, head over to the IndyChannel.com. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you so much. No doubt that these are anxious times. The Franklin school system here in Johnson County plans to deploy 2 therapy dogs when students return to the classroom on August the 5th. This is Millie. She's an Australian Labradoodle. The 9-month-old and her fellow canine hero will assist the district in mental health care services, specifically meeting the social and emotional needs of children in the classroom.
They tend to kind of relieve that anxiety, just put kids at ease, and just really help set the stage for learning to occur.
The dogs are funded through a referendum that was passed by voters to improve teachers' salaries and also invest in mental health. Lauren?
Raphael, now to the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak in the state of Indiana and a look at the latest numbers. The State Department of Health reported 662 new cases of the virus and 13 new deaths. More than 52,600 total cases have been confirmed in our state. 2,582 Hoosiers have died from the virus. More than 578,000 people have been tested so far. The time now is 6:06, and for those coming in contact with COVID-19 patients, possibly before people are even diagnosed, we know safety precautions are key. And so our Alyssa Donovan found out what the Carmel Fire Department is doing to stay prepared when they respond to calls.
As we deal with daily changes with COVID-19, first responders with Carmel Fire Department are doing everything they can to keep themselves and you safe.
This is the new normal for firefighter and EMT Matt DeRiker. Putting on protective pants, a protective jacket, an N95 mask, and glasses before every run. And when they arrive to the call,
if they come out and they have symptoms that are typical of a COVID patient, then we're only sending 2 people in as opposed to what we usually did when it was 6.
After they return to the station, they spray down themselves and their equipment with disinfectant.
We pretty much spray the entire inside of the bus, and then we take the sheets off and we spray the entire cot down, and we wipe off all of our electronic.
These are some of the many steps the Carmel Fire Department is taking to keep their crews and you safe.
Did a really good job of just focusing on what we're going to need first and then for the long haul.
The department stocked up on PPE like N95 masks, gowns, paper masks, disinfectant, and hand sanitizer. They're also doing a temperature check anytime someone enters the building.
I feel safer.
And each firefighter is getting tested weekly for COVID.
You know, the first couple weeks is a little strange having them tickle the back of your head.
A test that is not only for their safety, but for those they're serving in the community.
We're not just going on COVID patients, we're not just going on fires, we're going into the homes of the people that are very sickest. So if we can find out early and often that somebody is possibly positive and then keep them out of that equation until they're safe to go into it, it's going to help keep the citizens safer.
Fire officials are keeping an eye on trends with the virus to determine if any changes will need to be made to the protocols. But for now, this is the new normal for crews working in Carmel. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you so much. As you know, masks are mandatory in Marion County, but they're also now being used as works of art. Check this out on the city's east side. This is an art project which also offers free masks to those who need them. This is the work of artist Phil Campbell. He made it for the summer's Indie Art and Seek program with Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. It's located at 10th and Hamilton and is already very popular, as you can imagine. Anyone who needs a mask can take one, and if you have any masks you'd like to share, you are welcome to contribute.
Well, new from overnight, Indianapolis police are asking for your help to find a missing 4-year-old boy. Take a good look at your screen. Dante Wright was last seen in the 5300 block of Forest Pine Lane last night after his mother gave him to Chad Robinette to watch. The boy's mother says she has not been able to contact Chad, and they're not sure if the child is in danger. So if you have any information, please call police.
A Richmond school board member is now facing calls to resign. Let's take you out east of Indianapolis, where dozens of people gathered outside the district's administration office, this happening yesterday, to send a message about Suzanne Derengowski. She and her husband, a well-known local sports broadcaster, are facing backlash over an online podcast. Critics say it included racist comments that a district leader should not make. Other community members are standing by. Darren Gowski.
I would never believe in stifling someone's First Amendment rights, but when you hold positions such as a board member or even in a job, there can be repercussions for what you state publicly and believe in.
She's been on that school board for years and done great things for this city, so I wish people would appreciate her character and what she's done in the past and not judge her on whatever happened.
We have more details on this. The school board president tells RTV6 the board does not have the power to force her to resign, but he says members are listening to the concerns. Darren Gowski released a statement on behalf of herself and her husband. She says they did not mean to cause harm, and they will work to deepen their understanding of racial injustice in America.
Raphael, it is 6:10. We are now 16 weeks away from the general election, and Marion County Clerk's office says that voters can expect a better in-person voting experience than what they had at the primary. Russell Hollis says they're still finalizing plans for November, but they are taking what they learned from June's primary to offer more in-person polling places and early voting to cut down on long lines.
Ideally, we'll have voting for the full 28-day period, which is the normal early voting period. And we'll have satellite voting locations for roughly 2 weeks or so.
Well, the number of in-person voting places has not been decided yet, but Hollis tells RTV6 it will be more than what it was offering Marion County residents for the primary election. Hollis also encourages people who may feel more comfortable voting by mail to go ahead and get that absentee ballot.
And a reminder that today is the last day to file your federal taxes. The April deadline was already pushed back because of the coronavirus pandemic. If you still need more time, taxpayers can request an extension up until October the 15th, but you still need to submit an extension form by today.
Well, Raphael, many parents are now faced with a decision to send kids to school this year or use an online learning option. Coming up, we'll show you a new option that many Hoosier families can take advantage of. Todd.
And Lauren, it's a pretty comfortable morning for us here all across central Indiana. The humidity right now is still fairly low, and temperatures are sitting in the 60s and 70s across the area. As we work our way throughout the course of the day today, though, we end up in the 90s as the humidity starts to climb as well. More on that coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on RTV6.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The Rebound Indiana is our commitment here at RTV6 to connect you to resources to make sure you make it beyond this pandemic. And Lauren, many families, as you know, may be concerned about sending their kids back to school because of COVID-19.
Yeah, but RTV6's Stephanie Wade shows us all that there is a new online option that families can access anywhere across the state. She has that story.
Back in March, Phelan Leadership Academies, with 12 schools teaching 5,000 children throughout Indiana, surveyed their families about returning to the classroom with fears over COVID-19.
About a third of our parents said they weren't comfortable sending their children back until there was some type of vaccine or some type of treatment.
So they created PLA Virtual, a new statewide tuition-free online school for families grades K through 12.
Side to side. And I say we have somebody in the home who has a pre-existing condition. We have a really tight home situation. So I think PLA Virtual is great for that parent.
For us, the virtual learning is the safest option.
It's what David and Linda Rich opted for their adopted children, Bryant and Brianna.
I think because we have seen from a distance several family members get that COVID, they don't want to be a danger to myself and my husband either.
70 years old with diabetes and her husband, a cancer survivor. They feel this was the safest bet rather than risking being back in the classroom.
Now, I think it's not a good idea at this time because so much is changing with this virus. The numbers are not going down as much as I would have thought by now. They're going up.
Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Stephanie, thank you. About 100 families are already signed up for the PLA Virtual School. The online program begins August 11th, and there is still an opportunity for you to get signed up. So if you need technology or maybe some Wi-Fi connectivity, they can also help you with that. You can find more information on our website, theindychannel.com/rebound. All right, let's get a check of our Wednesday forecast with Todd Clausen. He's standing by with a hot one. Todd, the heat is back.
Yeah, back into the 90s as we push towards this afternoon, Lauren, and with the heat and humidity will come increased storm chances in the coming days. Now, this morning as you walk out the door, it's pretty quiet all across the area. We started off with a little bit of cloud cover, but now that the sun is getting closer to coming up over the horizon, you notice the last few frames here how the clouds are starting to break apart, and that trend will continue going forward throughout the afternoon hours. As far as those storms go, they're off to our west. In fact, there's a pretty big cluster of storms here approaching Kansas City. This is wanting to actually dive down to our south, so we don't have to worry about that huge cluster of storms heading in our direction, but we will have to worry about a front that will head our way, and that front will also bring some rain chances into our forecast late tonight until sunset, though we should be dry all across the area. So let me go through TrueCast for you hour by hour, and you can see as we go throughout the course of the morning and into the afternoon hours, plenty of sunshine across the area, and then eventually we'll turn partly cloudy this afternoon, eventually mostly cloudy, and then as we continue into the evening hours, this is when the storms are going to approach. 9 o'clock, they'll be coming towards the state line, and then they'll continue to work their way from west to east across the state throughout the overnight hours, and a couple of these storms could be borderline strong to severe, at least initially, as we get into that 10 and 11 o'clock hour, but eventually overnight it should transition into mainly more of a heavy rain threat for parts of the area with a little bit of lightning, and the severe weather threat should diminish overnight tonight. But for many of you, you could get quite a bit of rainfall here throughout the overnight hours. The best chance of the heavier rain, as you saw in TrueCast, is going to be across southern locations here overnight, and then throughout the day tomorrow, because that front lingers, we'll have the chance of some scattered showers off and on throughout the entire day. Here's the view, though, to start our Wednesday. Mostly sunny skies right now. It's a great start to the day with temperatures that are in the 60s all across the area. These temperatures will warm pretty quickly throughout the course of the day today, to highs eventually later on this afternoon that'll be topping off in the low 90s, at least in the city. Once you get into some of the other outlying areas, maybe not quite as warm in the upper 80s, but overall, again, it's going to be a very warm day. Parts of the area under the marginal risk for those storms as they make their way into the area late tonight. But again, they should be in a weakening state as they arrive. A little cooler tomorrow with the additional cloud cover, then a long stretch of 90-degree temperatures with a daily chance of those pop-up storms, Lauren, and heat index values potentially Sunday and Monday around 95 degrees for the actual temperature. Those heat index values over 100.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We do have a traffic alert for drivers right now, maybe heading in towards the Indianapolis area from parts of Madison County and areas to the north. We do have a crash right now closing all southbound lanes of I-69. And you can see here on your screen they are diverting traffic off the exit ramp here. This is at State Road 67. So as you're getting off the southbound interstate and you're getting on State Road 37, you can use State Road 38 as your detour. You can take that southbound and then you can take that through the Pendleton area, or you can connect with US 36 and head towards Fortville, McCordsville areas towards Indianapolis as your detour, or reconnect with I-69 southbound through Pendleton. We'll continue to keep you updated as we learn more information about that crash. But again, you can see all southbound lanes are closed at this hour. Northbound traffic, however, is still traveling up to speed. Raphael?
And thank goodness for Lauren Casey, our traffic pro. We will keep an eye on that. A reminder to Starbucks lovers, masks will be required at all stores. That's starting today. The coffee company sent an email to customers saying, in their words, that wearing face mask coverings is one of the simplest and most effective things that we can do to take care of one another. Those are their words. The Starbucks is also saying that baristas will be required to wear masks and undergo temperature checks, and stores will continue to limit the number of customers that are allowed inside.
The Federal Trade Commission is warning of new COVID-19 testing scams using email, texts, Facebook ads. We're going to show you what to look out for so you don't waste your money.
The new Cheetah Chase water coaster is now launching at Holiday World and Splashing Safari. And you can be one of the first to ride it thanks to Good Morning Indiana. This morning is your chance to win a pair of ticket vouchers to those parks. And all you have to do is be caller number 6. The number to call on your screen, 317-269-1459. Good luck. And a big good morning right now to Shelbyville, Speedway, and Seymour. Great places to call home. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV 6.
It is 6:24 here on our Wednesday. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Raphael, it's time to talk about what is trending at 6.
So let me take you to England.
Okay.
All expense paid. So here we go. This is a senior living facility in the UK, and they're spending some time in lockdown, of course, because of COVID-19. But residents are becoming rock stars. You see, to keep their spirits really high, the UK nursing home in question here helped residents recreate iconic album covers. They got to be stars from Adele, why not, to David Bowie, Rock On, and Elvis Presley as well. The pictures, as you can imagine, have gone viral. The organizer says the important part was just for the group to enjoy the experience and really to lift their spirits. That is so much fun.
Yeah,
wow.
That's where I want to be when I'm older. All right, well, Raphael, here is your morning dose of cuteness. The baby boom continues at the Denver Zoo. They welcomed a new zebra colt. His name is Kylo, and he was born in May. There he is. He's a gravy zebra, which is the largest of the 3 zebra species. I didn't know that. The zoo also has 2 new lion cubs, a turtle, and a baby Zufan cobra. That was all during the COVID-19 lockdown. So busy out there at the Denver Zoo.
Wow. Listen, we have a lot of cuteness as well at the Indy Zoo, so check out the Indy Zoo for all the great animals that are out there on display. This morning, our hometown hero, Lauren, is from Howard County. Jeff Smith of Kokomo is, of course, worthy of praise. He received a life-saving award from the Kokomo Police Department back in May. You see, Jeff helped out a guy who was unresponsive on the ground and saved his life. Thank you so much, Jeff, for what you did there in Kokomo. Time now to check your forecast with Todd Clausen. And Todd, I'm hearing that after Good Morning Indiana, you'll be serving some cool drinks on this warm day. Adult beverages, please.
Yeah, come on over, Raphael. You know where I live. I'll be happy to serve you anytime. And yeah, you want to keep a cool beverage in hand as you work your way out the door this morning and this afternoon especially. Make sure you stay hydrated. If you are having those adult beverages, obviously mix up some water in there as well, as temperatures will be climbing up into the 90s. This morning, though, not bad. Great for an outdoor walk or bike ride across your community, with temperatures going from the 60s into the 70s pretty quickly, and then eventually later on this afternoon, we will top off in the 90s from Lafayette to Indy to Columbus, upper 80s from Peru over towards Muncie. So it does turn into a very warm day. There are some storm chances in the forecast today, but they did not arrive until this evening, most likely after sunset. We'll talk more about those storm chances coming up when we join you at 6:30.
All right, Todd, thank you. We do have a warning. If you are looking into getting a COVID-19 test, scammers are using false ads to get your personal information. Consumer reporter John Mattery says the warning signs you need to watch out for so you don't waste your money.
With COVID tests, antibody tests, and contact tracing in the news every day, it was inevitable. Scammers are now targeting us with ads for testing that's not real. Looking for a nearby COVID test, but you don't know where to go? Or perhaps you want to know if you have the antibodies to protect from COVID. The FTC has just issued a warning that fraudsters are using telemarketing calls, emails, and Facebook posts to advertise fake tests that are really phishing for your personal information.
I'm calling from the County of San Diego's Public Health Department. How are you?
It says if you want a test, check with your doctor's office. The government will not contact you first. And from the Doesn't That Stink file, the tougher one to figure out, contact tracing scams. The FTC says scammers are sending text messages or are calling, claiming that someone near you has COVID and that you're being alerted. They may give you a link to a website that requests personal info and may contain malware. Real tracers will ask for your name and recent locations, but they will never ask for your Medicare, bank account, or Social Security number. When it comes to testing, if asked for a credit card or social security number, there's a chance you're being scammed. So be careful and don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries. Good morning, Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Breaking right now on your 6:30 news feed. Metro Police need your help to find this missing child. Dante Wright was last seen around 9:30 last night when his father gave him to Chad Robinette. Dante's parents are now unable to make contact with Robinette. The man drives an older Buick. If you see Dante, please call police.
Investigators expected to release more information today about a shooting in Brownsburg, leaving 2 people dead. This happened just after 1 o'clock Tuesday afternoon in a residential neighborhood on Grant Street. Police say they found 2 men dead in the street. There have been no arrests in this case, but officials say the community is not in danger.
The second of 3 federal executions this week is already facing some legal trouble. Wesley Ira Perkey is scheduled to be executed today out in Terre Haute. Perkey was convicted of raping and dismembering a Missouri teenager back in 1998. Defense attorneys say Perkey has dementia and doesn't understand why that he's slated to die. The temporary stay has been granted, but more legal proceedings are expected today.
A Richmond school board member is facing calls to resign. Dozens of people gathered outside of the district's administration office to send a message about Susan Derengowski. She and her husband, a well-known local sports broadcaster, are facing backlash over an online podcast. Derengowski released a statement saying they did not mean to cause harm and that they will work to deepen their understanding of racial injustice in America.
The city of Indianapolis will increase police patrols in the downtown canal. It's all part of a plan to improve security after 2 deadly shootings. IMPD says it will add 2 off-duty overnight shifts on the canal from 10:30 at night until 5 in the morning. Those shifts will include a combination of bike and foot patrols and will pay special attention to the canal play space and the Walnut Street Bridge. The plans also include improved lighting in the area.
Welcome to Good Morning Indiana on this Wednesday. And Lauren, the heat and the humidity are making a return. I don't know what to say. It's just it's going to be one of those days again.
I know.
But it's summer in Indiana. Let's just enjoy it, right?
Yes, we are in the middle of July, and we did get a couple-day break from the heat and humidity, but it is back, and Todd Clausen's here to break it all down for us.
Yeah, you know, the heat and humidity doesn't stay away all that long in the middle of summer, Raphael. You're exactly right. That's why you need to take advantage of those real comfortable days. And we just had several of them in a row. Today, we're back up into the 90s. The humidity comes up a bit, and it's going to start a stretch of what's going to be an uncomfortable stretch of weather, I think, for us. Not so much today, but in the days ahead. And I'll show you that 7-day planning forecast coming up in just a little bit. But a beautiful start to the day from downtown to the north. Just some high fair weather clouds out there. Temperatures are currently sitting in the 60s, and we'll stay in the 60s through about 8 a.m. and then we'll make the jump into the 70s, and we'll see the temperatures quickly warm from there. So there's some high thin clouds in the process of breaking apart. A lot of storm action off to our west. That big cluster of storms will avoid us, but we will bring in the chance of some storms later on in this evening after sunset. Highs today, upper 80s to the north, 90s from Indy down to the south. We'll talk more about those storm chances for you coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic. We do have an alert for drivers on I-69 heading southbound in areas like Madison County. We do have a full interstate closure due to a crash, and you're looking at the crash right now on your screen. This is a view a little north of State Road 38. They are diverting traffic in the southbound lanes off by State Road 67. You can take State Road 38 as your detour. Head through the Pendleton area this morning. You can use that to reroute and reconnect with I-69 to be back on your way. Or maybe just take State Road 38 over to State Road 36. Take that sort of in a southwest direction. You'll head through Fordville, McCordsville, over to the Lawrence area, and then you can reconnect with I-465 back here in Indianapolis. So keep this in mind. We do have that full interstate closure. You should have received an alert from us if you subscribe to push alerts. So you should have just got that on your phone a few moments ago. And of course, we'll keep you updated on when any lanes reopen. Raphael?
Turning now, Lauren, to the latest impact on the coronavirus on our state. Here are the latest numbers we have from the Indiana State Department of Health. Health officials reported on Tuesday 662 new cases of COVID-19 in Indiana. Since the pandemic began, nearly 53,000 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with the virus. The Department of Health also confirms 13 new COVID-19 deaths. As of this morning, nearly 2,600 Hoosiers have died from the virus.
And despite the virus, schools are already releasing their reopening plans. Families across central Indiana have some questions about how schools plan to keep students safe in the classroom. And so our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning with details on what the state is doing to protect both teachers and students. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. So some educators and families are concerned that there isn't enough guidance going into this new school year. Some of them assuming that we're going to have to close schools again just weeks after they reopen. The vice president of the Indiana State Teachers Association, which represents educators across the state, tells RTV6 many are worried what will happen if they go back. Some of the questions families and educators have are, how long does someone have to quarantine after a possible exposure? If masks are required 100% of the time, who gets notified of a positive case and what's that process look like? And are all decisions being left to local districts?
What resources are in place for staff, for students, and for the community when a student or a teacher dies? Not if, when. We wish that we had clearer guidance and clearer mandates from health departments or from the state health department.
Health officials at the local and state level say they believe it is safe for schools to reopen. Dr. Christina Box has laid out recommendations for schools, but hasn't mandated anything. So for a closer look at those recommendations and what some school districts across the area are planning to do to reopen in just a few weeks, head over to theindychannel.com. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you so much. 2 therapy dogs will be on duty within the Franklin schools here in Johnson County when more than 5,000 students return to classes on August the 5th. Meet Millie. This is Millie, the 9-month-old dog, and her fellow canine hero will assist in providing mental health care in the school district, especially social and emotional needs in the classroom, from a child having a meltdown to one coping with a personal crisis.
This is just one of the ways that we are bringing that kind of additional support to our students in the classroom.
The dogs are funded through the referendum that was passed by voters recently to improve teacher salaries as well as to invest in mental health services. Lauren?
Raphael, for those in contact with COVID-19 patients, possibly before people are even diagnosed, we know safety precautions are key. Our Alyssa Donovan found out what the Carmel Fire Department is doing to get prepared when they respond to calls.
As we deal with daily changes with COVID-19, first responders with Carmel Fire Department are doing everything they can to keep themselves and you safe.
This is the new normal for firefighter and EMT Matt DeRiker. Putting on protective pants, a protective jacket, an N95 mask, and glasses before every run. After they return to the station, they spray down themselves and their equipment with disinfectant. These are some of the many steps the Carmel Fire Department is taking to keep their crews and you safe. The department stocked up on PPE like N95 masks, gowns, paper masks, disinfectant, and hand sanitizer. They're also doing a temperature check anytime someone enters the building. And each firefighter is getting tested weekly for COVID. A test that is not only for their safety, but for those they're serving in the community.
We're not just going on COVID patients, we're not just going on fires, we're going into the homes of the people that are very sickest. So if we can find out early and often that somebody is possibly positive and then keep them out of that equation until they're safe to go into it, it's going to help keep the citizens safer.
Fire officials are keeping an eye on trends with the virus to determine if any changes will need to be made to the protocols. But for now, this is the new normal for crews working in Carmel. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you so much. A viral video from Monroe County has led to an FBI investigation. Now the man at the center of the video is reacting to claims that he provoked the situation. More on that as Good Morning Indiana continues on this Wednesday morning. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The man at the center of a viral video from Lake Monroe from July the 4th is responding to claims that he instigated what happened on that day. As you know, Vox Booker has spoken out several times saying that men in the video pinned him down and threatened to lynch him. On Monday, an attorney for a couple seen in the video said that Booker punched one of the men multiple times and the group was restraining him. Booker's attorney denies that. She released a statement to WRTV6 which says in part, Mr. Booker did not instigate this encounter. He did not provoke anyone to hold him against his will. He did not yell or shout or lose his temper. She goes on to say, you cannot provoke racism. Now, to read this full statement and to get the latest on this ongoing investigation, download the RTV6 app.
Raphael, this morning, state police say they're reviewing allegations that a white Capitol police officer reached for his handgun when confronting a black senator. The reported incident happened inside the State House on Saturday. Senator Eddie Melton and another senator were leading a few dozen people from a racial justice rally inside the State House to seek shelter from a thunderstorm. This is video from the event before the storm. A white senator says that two Capitol police officers were too aggressive while questioning their credentials, even though they may not have recognized the legislators in their casual clothes. Senator Melton says he doesn't want this incident to detract from the work the Black Legislative Caucus is doing. It is 6:42. One of Hamilton County's largest homeowners associations is facing some troubles in the courtroom.
All the information I've looked at, it points to a systemic problem across the state of there aren't homeowners being represented.
Call 6 Investigates is breaking down the lawsuit's accusations, plus what you can look for in your own neighborhood. Todd.
And Lauren, it's going to be another great pool day for us across the area as temperatures will be in the mid-80s already by the noon hour and then eventually climbing into the 90s. The UV index is high, so make sure you have the sunscreen on. There is the chance of storms in this forecast, but they do not arrive until after sunset tonight. So the pool or any outdoor activities are just fine throughout the day, but there is the marginal chance of severe weather as these storms arrive. We'll talk about the timeline and the impacts for you coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:43.
Welcome back. It is 6:46. We are monitoring a traffic alert for drivers on southbound I-69. This is a view here north of State Road 38. We do have the southbound lanes completely shut down at this hour, and you can see a number of crews out there working. Getting an update for you. Multiple vehicles are involved in this crash, with at least one there in the ditch. You can see it in the far left side of your screen. Traffic is being diverted at State Road 9 and State Road 67. That's exit 222. You can take that through the Pendleton area to reroute and reconnect with I-69 southbound this morning, or you can connect with US 36 and take that in a southwest direction towards Indianapolis if that is where you're heading for your commute this morning. Just give yourself that extra time because we do have some stop and go traffic leading up to that detour route, and of course we'll keep you updated. Raphael, one of the largest neighborhoods in central Indiana is now facing a lawsuit. The Deer Path HOA is accused of holding fraudulent elections and mismanaging the HOA's money.
Call 6 Investigates Kara Kenny is digging into that complaint, and she explains what you need to know if you live in a neighborhood with a homeowners association.
Nearly 1 million people in Indiana live in a neighborhood with a homeowners association, organizations that collect dues and in turn manage common areas like landscaping, parks, and pools. Thousands of people live in Noblesville's Deer Path, one of the largest subdivisions in Hamilton County. Andrew Taylor has lived here for 5 years.
Great location, wonderful place to live and raise your family. And this is where I live and raise my family.
Taylor and his attorney, Brian Dehem, who also lives in Deer Path, are concerned about what they call illegal and improper conduct by the Deer Path HOA, the board, and Kirkpatrick Management Company.
someone needs to stand up for the homeowners because we all live in these communities. These are our homes.
The lawsuit accuses Deer Path of an illegal scheme of ignoring the HOA's covenants and bylaws and holding sham elections without the proper number of voters. In some cases, as few as 9 homeowners were present at election meetings when the Deer Path bylaws required at least a quorum of over 700 homeowners to hold a board election, the lawsuit alleges. Attorney Brian Dehem says it calls into question the HOA's decisions for the past 8 years.
During this time frame when the board wasn't elected for the better part of a decade, there have been people who have actually lost their homes and people who have had to pay thousands of dollars to what is essentially a board that hasn't been elected and property management company that did not have the authority to do any of this.
The lawsuit also accuses the HOA of failing to get required financial audits and engaging in thousands of dollars in untraceable financial transactions. Court documents allege the HOA raised dues for homeowners without taking the proper steps.
Who's in charge of your homeowners association in many ways is more important than who's the president of the United States. But how often will the HOA affect your life? At least on a yearly basis, most of the time on a monthly basis.
We reached out to Deer Run's board and their attorney, who responded, "Neither the board nor myself feel it is advisable to comment on pending litigation." If you live in an HOA, make sure to read up on their covenants and bylaws before you move in. Attend HOA meetings, take part in elections, or run for a position. Dehem says HOA should consider using independent attorneys, not necessarily the ones connected to property management companies.
You need independent counsel that is dedicated to your community who will tell you what you should do, because that's the most important thing when you have people that are questioning each other.
Taylor and Dehem hope the lawsuit sends a message to thousands of HOAs in Indiana that they have to follow the rules. Kara Kenny, RTV6.
Kara, thank you so much. If you do have a problem with your homeowners association, you can file a complaint with the Attorney General's office, but Kara advises you on some very specific things. The Attorney General can only take specific actions on specific reasons. That includes if a homeowners association intentionally or knowingly misappropriates funds, if the HOA violates its requirements related to budgets, or fails to properly use proxies. The Attorney General's office says they have not received any complaints about the Deer Path HOA. The time now is 6:50. You're watching Good Morning Indiana, and Todd Clausen has another look at your hot, did I say hot forecast?
You did, Raphael, and you're going to sound like me, a broken record here pretty soon in the coming days, as we're going to enter a pretty prolonged stretch here of some very hot weather. Tomorrow, slightly cooler with more in the way of clouds. More on that in just a second, but we're getting off actually to a really nice start here in downtown Indianapolis as you look from downtown to the north. Just some high thin cloud cover out there. Otherwise, skies are mostly sunny. Temperatures this morning very, very comfortable. 65 Greencastle, 61 in Columbus, 62 in Greenfield, and Muncie's at 66 degrees. Throughout the day today, our temperatures will warm very, very quickly. Everybody climbs into the upper 80s. I think the city probably gets a little bit warmer into the low 90s for your afternoon high temperature, and then we stay in the mid 80s throughout the course of the evening hours. So we had some cloud cover overnight, but those clouds breaking apart now that the sun is above the horizon and sunrise has officially happened, and we'll continue to thin those clouds out a bit here throughout the morning hours. This big cluster of storms off to our west, that'll actually dive down to the south, and that will miss us. However, there is a front that is going to be heading in our direction later on today. So while the daytime hours today are going to be completely dry, and you don't have to worry about any rain in the forecast if you're heading to the golf course, if you're heading to the pool, or just out and about with friends for dinner, you're just fine. These clouds will increase throughout the afternoon and evening hours, but no rain enters the forecast until probably about 9 o'clock in western locations, and then this rain will spread from west to east across the area as the storms start to weaken. Probably a good chance of severe weather today in Illinois. It's none of the question there could be an isolated storm late tonight, early this morning, but as we get into the pure overnight hours, in the middle of the overnight hours. You notice there's still some heavy rain across parts of the area, but that's probably just some heavy rain and lightning. A severe threat should come to an end by then, and then just some scattered showers linger around tomorrow. Slight risk and enhanced risk in Illinois of severe weather today. Parts of the area under a marginal risk for us. And again, that would be late tonight, early this morning for damaging wind. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler because of the clouds and the scattered showers that are around, but then a long stretch of 90-degree weather returns to the forecast. Not only do the temperatures climb into the 90s, it becomes very humid as well. We're looking at heat index values that'll be over 100 degrees as we head into Sunday, Monday, and potentially Tuesday of next week. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We do have multiple vehicles involved in this crash in the southbound lanes of I-69. This is a view north of State Road 38, where we do have the entire southbound interstate shut down. A vehicle was in the ditch. Looks like they've pulled that out of the grass. It's in the shoulder on the left side of your screen at this hour. Traffic behind this crash is stuck, as you can see, just at a complete standstill. And north of here, they are diverting traffic off at State Road 67. You can take that as a detour. You can move through the Pendleton area to reconnect with I-69 southbound this morning, or take US 36 all the way southwest direction towards the Indianapolis area to reroute for your morning drive. We'll have more on this, plus another look at your forecast coming up on the other side of the break. Stick around. Welcome back. Just a reminder that the southbound lanes of I-69 are shut down at this hour due to a crash involving multiple vehicles. Near the Pendleton area, you'll need to get off the interstate at State Road 67. We'll keep you updated on the RTV6 app.
Let's take a look at your forecast. Todd, it's going to be another hot one.
Yeah, Raphael, 92 today. We're dry through the daytime hours, but look for some storms to develop late tonight into the overnight hours. Tomorrow at 88 with showers and storms, and then a long stretch of heat and humidity with high temperatures that will be in the 90s again from Friday all the way into the middle of next week.
All right, Todd, thank you. And thanks for joining us. We're back here in 25 minutes and all throughout Good Morning America with news, weather, and traffic. Have a great Wednesday.